This podcast contains Neverland. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Once Upon a Time, Season 6, Episode 16, Mother's Little Helper. I'm your host, Dom. With me, we have Jake, aka the map of Wonderland, or the map of Once Upon a Time with Neverland right in the center, and Nikki. How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
It's going.
It's going. I just want to thank everybody that stuck with us in chat for the live show. We had a lot of technical difficulties tonight. Thank you guys so much for sticking by. Really appreciate it. It means a whole lot to us.
Yeah.
But for everybody else and those of you still in chat, guys, what did you think of this episode?
This episode had a lot of things that were revisited that I was hoping we would revisit, and not just places.
Like Neverland?
And like Neverland, because I was wondering about that, and I think I'm one of the few people in the fandom who actually liked the Neverland story arc. So I was excited to get that back.
I didn't dislike Neverland itself. It was the timing in which it was like there was a lot of stuff going on in Storybrooke at the time. Like it left us, that was the whole thing with like magic and those people coming to like destroy Storybrooke and all that. And then we didn't see Storybrooke for like 6 to 7 episodes. So that was my only problem with Neverland. I did like the Neverland arc though, but that, like I said, the issues I had with the Neverland were not Neverland itself. It was the way we were left hanging elsewhere. But we were just talking about Neverland last episode, right? And the fact that it didn't exist anymore and it was destroyed because Pan and the heart of the truest believer and all this stuff, and it ceased to exist. But here it is. Here we are back in well, Hook and Blackbeard or Neverland. So
I'll just Hook now. I think Blackbeard is going to be long gone, or at least get eaten by a kraken. I sure hope so. Anyways.
Well, who gives a fuck, really?
Yeah, he's a jerk. Let him go.
Yeah, Mayfer in chat says, I didn't like the Neverland looked like a dried out place.
Well, I mean,
well, it was.
It was. The only thing that really kept it alive was the heart of the truth, like the hourglass in Skull Rock, and Pan, the magic that Pan was living off of and stuff like that. So, that's why they wanted the heart of the truest believer, was to revive Neverland so that it could live longer, and that's why they wanted Henry. So.
Yeah, and this particular episode though, like it, because Neverland back in season 3 did look lush. We had forests, we had a lot of green, like. But this episode, yeah, it looked very dry. It could have just been the area on the beach that they were located in, or it could have something to do with the fact that it shouldn't exist right now, but it does.
Well,
so
it never did exist.
So,
well, Neverland, before we knew it as Neverland, never existed. It was just a place that kids went to in their dreams. It wasn't a physical place you could go to until, Pan, came there, and no one's really supposed to live there, but he decided he wanted to, and then, it was this whole thing. So
it was like, becoming youthful again, and the fruit on the trees, and there was just a whole shebang going on there.
Yeah. But after that whole thing, Neverland died, I guess. But I guess part of it survived, and I guess we're not really sure this new Neverland how it works. I'm not sure if there's magic here, exactly if it is kind of dying, because it looks like it is. But
I think it kind of worked the same way that Dark Curse worked at because there was that safe haven where Aurora and Prince, what's his face, Philip were at, and Mulan and all them. I think it kind of worked that way, where it's like, it was there's parts of it unaffected, and it's ever since
in that area.
Yeah, that area. And, since, it was kind of put into existence by Peter Pan, that its physical being was able to be preserved in some way, shape, or form. And that's why we see probably like the dried out bits so far, anyways.
Carlos in chat says Pan was a terrible parent, and he was awful.
Really?
But yeah, it's a matter of like this is definitely remnants at least of the original Neverland because the Lost Boys, they're crowing, like they're doing all the stuff that we remember the Lost Boys to be doing, and for Hook to have such memories of like their actions, like if this was a new group of Lost Boys, for example, that didn't have interactions with Pan, they would not be acting the same way that Hook would be able to recognize them. So these are in fact the same Lost Boys from the Neverland we saw in season 3.
Yeah, they're the ones that refuse.
to.
Yeah, they refused to leave. They wanted to stay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is that group of kids. And
Seem to be older.
Yes. And with that being said, we don't know what is going on with Neverland. In like last we left, it was destroyed, right? Right. But now it's not. So is it still magical? Was it ripped out of the magical place, the magical realm? Was it put into like a stable corporeal kind of like area? Like, is it part of the enchanted forest in like an offset place? I don't think so because they right.
You
I
might.
put it in. So okay, so for the new people in chat, so I made 2 maps right here. 2 maps are supposed to go together like that, and so I watched every single episode of Once Upon a Time just to make this damn thing, so I could like place.
And now they're fucking with it.
So I don't know where things are supposed to go. I put Agrabah in a certain place, and now I don't even know if they put it back in the place they were supposed to put it last episode.
Yeah.
they literally moved Agrabah. But yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff with that, and we're definitely gonna get more on Agrabah. I mean, not Agrabah. Neverland next episode. We're also supposed to get Tiger Lily next episode.
Tiger Lily.
And I'm actually really looking forward to that because there was speculation for the longest time that Lily, aka Emma's foster child, like
bestie,
best friend, was actually Tiger Lily, and then it turned out to be Maleficent's daughter, and like it was this whole weird thing. So that never ended up being the case. But now we're supposed to actually be getting Tiger Lily, which I'm looking forward to because that to me was like one of the biggest parts of Neverland that we never got to that I really wanted to see. So I'm really excited for that.
Really, the only thing that was missing in Neverland.
It really was, yeah.
Yeah. From the Disney Neverland.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but like even in Peter Pan in general, like the Native Americans were, part of Neverland. That's where they lived. That's there was a little section for them that they lived in, and like that was their land. We never saw that there. And actually, even the fairies were not that big in Neverland anyway.
Only Tink, right?
Well, yeah, Tink was the only one there, and the only reason why she was there is because she was banished from where the fairies usually live.
Yeah. Alec is saying Tiger Lily's in charge. I'm calling it. That would be great if Tiger Lily's actually the one in charge of Neverland now.
I like that idea.
I don't know. They all seem really, really like primal. I don't know if Tiger Lily would. I don't.
Well,
they seem like they're really vicious, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, Tiger Lily in the original Disney film didn't really do much. She didn't have any words to say. But but because of that blank slate, they can interpret Tiger Lily however they want.
That's true.
Yep, they definitely can do that.
From the promos and pictures I saw of her, she looked pretty cute and peaceful. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, because I'm sitting there running through my head as I'm like, we're back in Neverland. Who's in charge? Like, I never even thought Tiger Lily for a moment. I'm sitting there going, Rufio. No, Rufio's dead. Like, they mentioned that Rufio was dead already.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was such like a missed opportunity, like to just in off mentioning Rufio's dead. Because I know recently, I say recently, but within the last like 4 or 5 years, the actor who played Rufio in the Robin Williams Hook film came back and did like a YouTube video with some fans or whatever and reprised his role as Rufio, and he gained a bit of weight, but like the face was very still much his face. Like it did not change very much. And if they would have been able to get that actor to come in and play Rufio for Once Upon a Time, I think I would have lost my shit. So
yeah, like that film is, I think that film was technically a Disney movie, Hook. So I guess like They could do that, but it is kind of like one of those obscure Disney films that they don't really touch on the show.
It's still one of my favorite tellings of Peter Pan ever. So, I mean, Robbie K blows Robin Williams away in terms of Peter Pan himself, but Robin Williams was absolutely fantastic in that movie.
And Professor McGonagall as an older Wendy is amazing.
Yeah.
Crack theory time. That just gave me a thought. Wendy is in charge of Neverland. Where has she been? I don't know.
Wendy and the Lost Boys went back home, didn't they?
Yeah, they did go back.
Not the Lost Boys, John and Michael, but
yeah. The Lost Boys did too. Like where the fuck did they go? I don't know.
They went to their realm.
Well,
their realm of
actually.
London is different
Actually,
than our London.
They didn't go back actually.
I thought they did.
No, I'm pretty sure they're still like on our plane. They just left Storybrooke.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I thought
We
they
don't
went
know
back
who
to their
left.
realm for some
We
reason.
don't know who left and who stayed. We never know.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell's still running around somewhere. I don't know where she is.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
the fact that they brought Tinkerbell back a couple episodes too leads us to believe, maybe Tinkerbell's floating around that island somewhere.
There's a lot of people who came from a different realm that are in Storybrooke right now that we don't know where they are because they just kind of like forgotten about those characters. And not really forgotten about them, but like they're not really important right now. And there's all this speculation surrounding this season, if this is like the last season, which it's not, you guys, it's not.
It's not.
But the possibility of a cast change, and if there is, then we can bring in these other characters like Tinkerbell, or maybe Lily, or Philip and Aurora. They're still around somewhere doing a Mommy and Me class.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting, like the way we got to Neverland with Hook. We found out Hook has a protection spell on him, which prevents him from coming home. So
isn't that convenient?
Yeah.
Right. And then
go to hell, Gideon.
He has the card game with Blackbeard, and he knew Blackbeard was cheating the whole time. He had 6 aces in the deck.
Yep.
But I'm surprised Hook wasn't cheating.
Right, but like Hook was banking on the fact that he was cheating because even if Hook somehow won, right, he was going to get the magic bean. But if Hook lost, he still had a way to get the magic bean. So either way, like Hook went into that game knowing he couldn't lose. So he lost some jewels of Agrabah, right? No big deal. But like,
well, he's not going back to Agrabah, so
Well, yeah. And then when Blackbeard's like, "No, I'm coming with you," I was like, "You're not going home. Where the hell are you going?" And then floor, Neverland is just like, what the hell just happened? So I think that was honestly probably my favorite aspect of this episode was the whole Hook thing. That to me. So.
Because Hook has gone, to the good side now, but he's still a pirate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We did have another little kind of like off mention of something when Regina was talking to Henry about the things that she was trying to like course correct about what her evil counterpart did. She mentioned the town line protection spell. And I think she said she cleared that, right? Didn't she say that she fixed that?
Yeah, so she fixed that. People can leave now. Sometimes people can leave, sometimes people can't. I'm trying to figure out why people in this town stay.
Yeah.
But I guess they can leave now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because like
she also referenced the dragon in the mirror world, right? Which we just saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where is he?
Right. But she also little like one-off comment. She goes, "Yeah, and I let Dr. Doolittle out of his cage." Oh, don't ask. So I'm like, is that like an actual reference to Dr. Doolittle, or is she just calling someone Dr. Doolittle? It's like a nickname she gave to someone.
I think she's just calling somebody that, but who it is, I don't know. When she said that, I was trying to remember something from a previous episode that we might have missed. I don't think she's referencing something from a previous episode.
No, well, yeah, definitely not from an episode.
Know.
It's something. Maybe it's Dr. Hopper that she was talking about.
Well,
that would explain why we haven't, Dr. Hopper was gone for so long, and then all of a sudden he's back.
Well, he was already freed. We saw him escape from his.
Yeah,
cage.
this sounded like it sounded like she just did it.
Yeah, the way she referenced it, she sounded like she just did it. So
I think she's talking about somebody else.
Yeah, I'm not
I don't know
sure.
if this is foreshadowing or not, but she's talking about somebody else.
Yeah. See, Daniela in chat says that's Archie, and it very well could have been. Because I thought at the beginning of the season Archie was turned into a cricket.
He was.
And now he's walking around. Yeah, so now he's walking around.
But they said But didn't they say like I forgot which character it was, but somebody was going to sessions with him. Like they said that last episode, I think.
Well,
Mm,
yeah, because we just saw Hook talking with Archie about the,
yeah.
getting engaged with Emma and his past with, David's dad and all that jazz. So it's like, I don't, that's really confusing. I don't want it to be Archie because I'm not really a fan of the character, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, who
Well,
And
is?
it's just an explanation, I think, for how Archie got out in the first place, if that's the case. If not, she's referencing the actual Doctor Doolittle or a different doctor. And as far as I know, Archie's the only doctor other than Frankenstein on the show.
I don't, but
Um,
he's like off, zombies and everything. So
yeah,
well, he's the same place Tinkerbell is on iZombie. Like the
yeah.
two actors are on iZombie together.
yeah.
But she had a chance to
Tinkerbell
reprise her role.
and Dr. Frankenstein, in the context of this show, went to audition for the show, and that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, well, David Anders, who plays Dr. Frankenstein, is on iZombie, but he also reprised his role just recently. Like
Yeah.
he came back last season. So, I mean, they do have the opportunity to come back anytime they want. So,
Oh,
as
yeah.
long as it doesn't conflict with their schedules.
We had Tinkerbell a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I'm hoping we get some more of her. But yeah. But when with Regina, while she was talking to Henry, all of a sudden Henry just went wide-eyed into some like weird trance and started.
Oh yeah, he got
drawing
cataracts
symbols.
for a second. Right?
Yeah, just a temporary cataract. And they have absolutely no idea what's going on, so they go see Isaac, the previous author.
Oh hey,
So
who the fuck gave you a
Did
typewriter?
you know what?
And
Did
that
they
felt-
even get any real answers from him?
They didn't.
Yeah.
we got
He
an
didn't-
answer from him though. Something
We
that I
did.
want to know what's been going on in the show, because last time we got a date on this show was when they were in the underworld, and we placed the show around in the year 2013, right? So we're sitting here, at least I'm sitting here going, I still don't know when we are right now in present day. And he demanded a bunch of things, leaving for New York, a sports car, and Hamilton tickets, right? The Hamilton tickets to me is the important part here, because in New York, Hamilton tickets didn't open, or Hamilton itself didn't open until August 6th of 2015. So for this to be any kind of reference, it's at least 2015. The timeline from the underworld to now has shifted at least minimum of 2 years. So we know that much at least.
How the fuck did you find out about Hamilton?
I do my research.
No, I'm talking about Isaac.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't even. Yeah, that's right. Like, how the hell? You've been locked in a cell with that creepy woman watching over you all this time.
Oh, yeah, she's back.
You
She's
get
back.
no
When are we gonna get her back,
visitors.
though?
You get 0 visitors. How the hell did you find out about Hamilton?
I'm assuming they bleh, if I could talk, they might get newspapers. Would be
They just
the
sold
only
him a
thing I
newspaper.
could think of to just, like keep up with the current times, something like that. So
I don't know.
Well,
Haley in chat is saying actually it was off Broadway beforehand. That is correct, but it wasn't in New York.
I'm sure it wasn't like as popular as it was like when it actually came out, and like it was booming.
Yeah, because he goes, oh, even you can't get those, So,
Hmm.
I forget when I was looking, but it was not in New York when it was off Broadway. But the date it opened in New York was August 6, 2015. So, kind of places us timeline. For all we know, we may have been caught up at this point. The
Yeah.
timeline may be caught up. It's present day.
Maybe.
which is
so-
good because we don't the timeline in this show has already been fucked up so many times.
Yep.
Yeah, but even though we're caught up in present day, they're still using Windows 95 in the sheriff station.
Yeah.
So, but he told us the author powers are taking over, and
What the fuck
just
does that
before he
mean?
leaves to get into the car, he tells Henry to look in the book. So Henry opens the book, and he sees the final chapter is being written. He goes, well, what happens at the end of the book? And he's saying, the Savior fights the final battle. No one wants to be around to see that. So, this is leading up to all these rumors too on top of it. Oh, this is the final season of the show. This is the final battle. And, like we got teased a little while ago with Adam and Eddie on Twitter when he announced the final 2 episodes where where the final battle, part 1 and part 2, and that instantly, when you hear the words "the final battle," that leads people to believe it's over. And that's not true. Just minor example right now, Saw 7, the movie, was called The Final Chapter, right? Guess what's coming out this year? Another Saw movie. So just because
Resident Evil,
they say it's over, it's not over. So don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Adam and Eddie specifically have been in talks with the ABC executive producer, and they've been talking about next season already. They said the talks have begun. Adam and Eddie have already pitched the ideas for next season. So yes, there are plans. Whether or not it gets renewed or not is another story, but there are plans for another season. So don't worry.
At least another season.
Yeah.
At least one more, because Adam and Eddie have always said, even like at the beginning of the show, they said, we have story for 7 seasons. And, but between the time they said that and the time, as of right now, they could have thought of even more stories.
Yep.
Because this is the type of show where you can, and they've done this before, you can go off the main story that we are in right now and tell a new one. Once Upon a Time in Wonderland is a good example. Just a whole nother story that was going on that we didn't know about. So this may be the final chapter in these characters' stories, at the very least in Emma's story. That does not mean the show is ending. Yeah. And and they said, you look at the end of the book and it's the final chapter. Well, what do you do when the book is over? You write a new one.
You write the sequel.
Yeah, well, we saw
And guess what? Sequels can
there was
also
many
have characters from the first story in them. So don't worry, guys. Just because this book is ending, doesn't mean a new one can't begin.
There's already another book.
Yeah,
the author wrote another book.
We've seen Henry pull out when they went to the library
in
New York or Boston or wherever it was. It was New York. It was last season, and that's when we found the Untold Stories book and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of other blank books on the wall in the sorcerer's house. You just see them. You could just write whatever you want in them. Just take one out and start writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We did get a bunch of backstory though on Gideon and the Black Fairy, the Black Fairy especially. And as soon as she came on screen, I'm like, I know her. It's bothering me. I had to pause the show.
Oh yeah, it's H.G. Wells.
Nikki was actually over at my house when we were watching it, and I paused it and I was Googling. I'm like, oh, she played H.G. Wells in Warehouse 13. That's where I know her from the most. I think Nikki had recognized her from another show, but I don't remember what that was off the top of my head.
Me either.
But yeah.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. But yeah, no, H.G. Wells and Helen, I forget what her last name. I forget what the G stood for in that, or her middle name, but Helena or Helen or something like that in Warehouse 13. Absolutely fantastic. It was a reoccurring role. If you guys have not seen that show, 100% recommend checking that out. Really, really cool show. It ended, I think, like 2 years ago. They had the finale. But we also find out here that Gideon has actually been under the Black Fairy's control the whole time. She's had his heart through this whole time. So
is that the plot point we're revisiting? Did people forget you could do that?
Apparently.
Well, I mean, once Regina stopped doing it, I mean, it kind of escaped our minds. It's like whatever.
Other people can do it. Yeah, other people can do it though. Rumpel can do it. Emma can do it.
Yeah, Emma can do it.
This seems like a useful tool that we could do that nobody ever thought of. Can't you just take, so like, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day before I saw the episode. I'm like, can't you just take out Gideon's heart and like tell him not to do these stupid things?
Pretty much. Yeah, but like for Rumpel and everybody to not suspect anything, like I'm waiting, at some point maybe why hasn't Rumpel or Regina or somebody thought about taking out his heart to control him? That's never crossed their minds.
I think it's
stop him from doing this.
I think it's because
it's a bad thing.
I was just gonna say they're trying to do better in their lives, and that is kind of an evil thing to do, is to manipulate and control a person.
Regardless, though, we've all known that Rumpel will do whatever it takes to do things the way he wants them to unfold. So I expect a little better out of Regina. Now I don't know, Emma's kind of a coin toss. I could actually see Emma being like, I'm gonna take his heart to control him. That's kind of the way she's going for me right now, because they're basically butting heads, especially after what Gideon did to her this episode. But
we will talk about that later.
Yeah.
Hashtag baby Mo's baby.
But we also find out with the Black Fairy that like she's been obsessed with the dark curse. She's the one that created the dark curse. Like,
oh, that's
all
an
the
answer
darkness,
that I forgot we were searching for.
Right, all the darkness that we've ever seen or faced in this whole series, everything up to this point came from the Black Fairy.
Yeah, she started the dominoes toppling over.
Yeah, and she's not done. She's collecting more dust. That's why she has all these kids enslaved and all this stuff. She's collecting more dust to create something possibly even more sinister than the Dark Curse.
Okay,
Which
if you
I can't even
remember,
begin to fathom.
if you can
that
remember
is.
how much dust was used in the Dark Curse when Regina casted it, can you imagine? She's had like they said she was stockpiling. Can you imagine it's catastrophic. She's gonna like blow up the whole planet at this point.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that though?
Carlos says, Dark Curse, why did she make it? We don't know why she made it, right? We just kind of know she's experimenting with black magic at this point.
We know why other people want it.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the one who created it. Why did you want to create it? And like, what's your end goal, after that? Why are you collecting all this dust? There has to be a reason for you to do this. So, with any villain that we have on the show, we're going to get her backstory. Whether or not she was born evil or somebody made her that way, we don't know. But something happened where she is collecting all this dust, and it's for a purpose.
Well, we do know that she's been locked up in that particular dimension for a while. Now, was it before, like, did she make the dark curse there and happen to just toss it out into the real world when she happened to get that, that time frame where she's allowed to leave her dimension? Or, was she, fluttering around and just happened to be like, I'm just gonna, this is a test to see how it works.
What I think it is she's been using the dust to kind of experiment with different ways to leave, and the dark curse was just kind of like a happy. I use the term happy loosely, like a happy like side effect. It's just like, I discovered this, woohoo! Like, I didn't mean to make this, but here we are. We have it.
Why don't you use it to get out of the dimension that you're in?
I think she tried using it, and that's how Rumpel got access to it. That's probably my guess.
Well, what the dark curse? How Rumpel got the dark curse? And there's still a lot of questions about who came into contact with the dark.
I thought Maleficent had it first before Rumpel.
Yes, but she got it from Rumpel.
So here's what we know so far. From this episode, we get that she created the dark curse. How it got to the enchanted forest, we don't know. If this realm is attached to the enchanted forest or like miles and miles and miles away from the dark.
It's safe to say it's in a separate realm as the enchanted forest, because she has mentioned that she escapes long enough to be able to get children until it pulls her back. So,
but she created it some time ago. Somehow it ends up in the enchanted forest, but it ends up on Bald Mountain. Then Rumpel somehow found out about it, and then he got Maleficent and the other two, Ursula and Cruella, to go get it. Then he got it. Then somehow Maleficent got it. And then she traded it for the sleeping curse with Regina.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we know everything up to the point of how it got to the enchanted forest. We know what happened after it got there. We just don't know how it got there. So yeah, that's definitely a question that still leaves to be answered. Whether or not like the creation of it to begin with, like the purpose like for creating it, actually needs an answer. Because to me, I think just experimenting with, because they did mention she experimented with ways she was using the fairy dust to try to escape. So I'm assuming it's just something that was created along the process, of trying to find a way out, and you created this by accident kind of thing. So I don't know if it needs like a concrete answer, because I feel like that's a pretty decent answer right there.
Yeah, I just thought of something. So she created the dark
Shady
curse,
Blue.
and she's yeah, because blue's a bitch. So she's been collecting all this dust for something, and out of this she created the dark curse. So I'm thinking about where the dark curse ended. It ended up on Bald Mountain, and then Chernobog was guarding it. I'm wondering if she created Chernobog, or if like Chernobog is like one of her pets.
Like freaking Sheila.
Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. I would love for more Fantasia elements in the show. To be
Yeah,
honest,
we don't have enough of those.
we only had the
just
sorcerer and we had
well,
Chernobog.
well, out of the ones you could have picked, those are the best ones you could have.
It is true. I don't
Like
know.
we
I want
said-
I want the dancing hippos somehow. Make it happen.
And the bit with the dinosaurs, where they all die at the end.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So with finding out that Gideon's actually been under the Black Fairy's control, does that change your guys' opinions about Gideon at all?
No.
No.
Well,
Does
because
it doesn't give you any sympathy toward Gideon?
I mean, okay.
Yes, but I haven't seen enough of like the real Gideon to like really make it judgment.
Yeah,
'cause, like,
there's that.
He could have been a little shit, even
And
despite all this. But...
I mean, we saw him in flashbacks how he was, and he was very much wanting to be the hero. He was, he wanted his mother's book back. There was all
but
that.
he wasn't doing shit.
No.
He was not doing anything.
See, the way I look at it is that, Gideon is still conscious of what he's doing because he does have the power to kind of know what the hell is going on. It's not a complete daze like some of the characters who are under control with the heart. They're just complete puppets. He knows what the hell's going on. He can converse, and he obviously had a conversation with the Black Fairy saying, well, your plans are foiled, all this jazz. There's ways for him to get around the Black Fairy's control and send a message to somebody, being like, hey, guess what? She has me under her control. Help me out. Instead of just being like, oh, let's go kill the bitch. It does, there's ways for him to kind of overcome it. He's very strong, but I don't think he has enough confidence in himself. And that's what we saw in the flashbacks in the Black Fairy's realm. He just doesn't believe in himself the way he should.
He watched his best friend get murdered in front of him, turned into a bug and stepped on, Like...
And kudos to the actor who plays Baby Mo, and for people who don't know, I call him Baby Mo. Mo from Morpheus.
Morpheus, yeah. Baby Morpheus.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to convey that kind of emotion while you're staring at, you're not staring at anything, you're not really acting off of anybody. Green screen acting is really, really hard.
It's really, really difficult. Acting to nothing is very hard. It is. Carlos in chat says, I always knew there was good in Gideon ever since I first saw him on the show. And yeah, I kind of had that feeling, but I was like, I didn't quite know how to articulate it because there was no basis for those feelings. Like I sit here and defend Rumple a lot through all of the shit he does. And when Rumple does something that's unforgivable, I tell you guys straight up, I don't have any justification for this. This was awful. But I was like, I understand why he did it, but that doesn't change the fact that it's awful. I'm at least real with you guys on that. So, everything else with Rumple, I'm like, I can see why he did it. I can see why he thinks it's the right thing, even though it's not. And that's why I still back Rumple, because I kind of can understand where Rumple's coming from. But with Gideon, I absolutely had no idea until we got some backstory on him. And though we did, his whole motivation for, we got to come save these people and defeat the Black Fairy, like I wasn't getting that this episode until like they showed the heart getting taken. I'm like, okay, so his entire motivation in Storybrooke since he's been here are not of his own accord. Like this is what the Black Fairy's been telling him to say to everybody through the whole time. Like we've seen it. You whisper into the heart and he says the exact words that the Black Fairy's saying. So everything, I'm going to say not everything, but probably 90 to 99% of what he's done since he's been in Storybrooke is exactly what the Black Fairy has said and told him and made him do. So
I don't even know if it goes that far. I know he's smart enough and powerful enough to, manipulate it a little bit so he has a little bit of control. But I think he feels like there's like only one road he can take, and that is to follow her orders. So I think the words that he's saying are his own. It's just, he has an urge from her.
Yeah.
But he obviously doesn't like her.
No.
Well, actually, no. That's kind of okay. I don't really know about this. So his feeling towards the Black Fairy, I'm not so sure about. It's kind of muddy because he wants to stop her, and clearly he can see what she's doing is awful, and we saw that in the flashbacks. Like he wants to like get rid of her, but you don't grow up with somebody who is your mother figure and not grow an attachment to them.
Yeah.
And I think that goes both. And I think it goes both
like
ways.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
Not really Stockholm syndrome. I'm not saying it's that. I mean, it very well could be. But I'm just saying you can't spend that much time with somebody and not have a connection with them. And I think that also goes both ways for the Black Fairy and her feelings towards Baby Mo. Whether or not that connection is like genuine or like she just really, if she just needs him for something.
It seems like though they had a connection previously, right? So yeah, like and a lot of people are pointing out in chat the young actor who played Gideon. I think it was Alex and Emily, and Haley as well. Mentioned the young actor was really good, and I loved him. The one who played Little Gideon was great. And we saw he was a little defiant from the Black Fairy. You're not my real mother. He's taking the book. That's mine. My real mother gave it to me. But then it seems like somewhere between that and adult Gideon, he changed, right? And he kind of started doing what the Black Fairy said, and he was kind of like growing attachment to her, and like there was definitely some kind of like bonding there.
After his friend was killed.
Until his friend was killed. That's when it changed.
Yeah.
That's when he snapped, and at that point she knew she lost him. That's why she took his heart, because she could no longer get him to do what she wanted him to do. Up until that point, she probably could have sent him to Storybrooke on his own accord and done everything that she wanted him to do without having to control him. He probably would have been swayed by his parents at that point, so she probably would have lost him regardless. So she had to take his heart for her objective. She had to take it. There's no other choice.
Well, now we gotta get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to address something that was said in chat. It's I think Carlos mentioned it, saying that Balefire was the better son of Rumple, and I want to say no, because we did get that whole episode where it was a flashback where Rumple, it was with what's his face, bu- 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 with the Grundle.
Oh yeah,
that where he actually
the Grundle.
Yeah, with the Grundle, yeah. And I can't think of the hero's name. I'm putting his name in quotation. Beowulf, yes, thank you so much. That whole episode, you saw that Balefire was just as could have been just as corrupted as
Gideon is now.
Exactly.
Heart,
Yeah.
Well, that was that really just came out of nowhere. But I mean, I guess it's canon now. So Balefire really had that kind of. He had that like root of evil in him.
Yeah.
From the start, I guess. Is what that.
Everybody
does.
That everybody has the potential
for
good and bad.
Exactly.
And they showed that with him. That was proving it more than anybody. Somebody that we thought was completely pure of heart.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he was pure of heart, but.
Well, yeah. I'm saying,
I'm saying he was. I don't think he would have ever commanded his dad to kill somebody. I would never think that would be in his character, but like, just
But knowing that too,
that episode alone just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that episode.
No, my point was is that
knowing that though, I just want to say, knowing that, you have to take in accord, like taking and. That all happened before everything that we've known about Balefire.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was way back. That was before, he had Rumple choose between him and the power, between stealing the bean, between contacting the blue fairy, to get the portal to go to the other realm. That was all way before that. So this is basically stage 1 Balefire. This is, I think, the only other time we saw Balefire before that was when the Ogre Wars were happening, and they went to go get the dagger, to turn Rumple into the Dark One.
Yeah.
So
And he had a new
between that
face.
and the
He had a different
Beowulf
face
story,
back then.
that is the first incarnation of Balefire, and then he snapped at that point. So you got to remember, we didn't have much of Balefire at that point, so we don't know his entire personality and everything. All we know of is at that moment when Balefire changed and wanted to kill, and then Rumple had him erase his memory and preserve his innocence and everything. That at that moment on, we saw the innocent Balefire through. So it really rings true. And whether you want it, like Jake's got a hard time accepting that it's canon or whatever, it just reinforces to me the good in Balefire more than anything. But showing that there's one point in almost everybody's life that you can snap. Everybody has a breaking point, and I really like that episode with Beowulf and Balefire for that exact reason, is to show everybody has a breaking point.
Yeah, and
Well,
that
I agree.
and I
I
was
agree with that. I agree with that part, and I
Yeah.
accept that it's canon now. But like, I'm just saying the reason why I don't like that episode is because the reason why they did that is to paint Rumple in a sympathetic light, and I think they went about it the wrong way. Because I really think Bellfire went through character slaughter in that episode, whether or not it's I mean, yeah, it's canon now, and that's fine. But I think before that happened, there was no inkling of that anywhere in Bellfire, whether or not it was before this moment happened or after that moment happened, because we've seen both before and after that particular episode was taking place.
Yeah, but
My-
we also see with Neil, he's a thief, so there a little of the darkness did carry over still, regardless. But anyway, continue, Nikki. You were trying to say.
Yeah, my whole point was you can't say which son was better because they both have the capabilities to be good and be bad. It all depended on their upbringing. Neil and
And
Balefire,
circumstance.
exactly. And so, like, Gideon could have been a freaking angel, but the dark fairy, the black fairy, stole him and she brought him up with her influence. That has nothing to do with how he could have ended up. He could have been a lot like Balefire. So we can't just be like you're bad because it's not his fault.
You could take the kid, the best kid in the world, was raised to not harm a butterfly, anything like that, and you give him the right circumstance, like look at like Batman and all that. You get your parents murdered in front of you, something like that, and something is gonna snap, something's gonna change you, and I think that's especially with Balefire, that's what happened. He saw he was getting pushed around. He saw people were gonna get hurt, and he snapped. So even the nicest of people have a breaking point. So, but
Yeah.
with Gideon, we saw really cool, and I think this was Omi's favorite part of the episode, when Gideon asked Emma for help to kill the Black Fairy, and they go back to the sorcerer's house, which we haven't seen in. I think the last time we saw it was during the Frozen arc, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken.
I
We
want
may
to
have
say
seen
yes.
it just a little bit after that, but it was definitely, at least for me, it was the Frozen arc the last time I remember seeing it.
We saw in the underworld version of it.
Yeah, we saw the underworld version of the sorcerer. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but the actual sorcerer's house we haven't seen since the Frozen arc. And they're trying to open a portal to get Hook back, supposedly. And instead of Hook coming through, Omi's favorite creature in the entire world came crashing through that door. Right?
No.
No.
I had the pleasure of watching this episode with Omi as she was visiting this weekend, and or Nikki, whatever you guys want to call, and she I turned because she does not like spiders at all. She hates spiders more than anything, and I turned and I looked at her when the spider came crashing through, and the pure horror and disgust that was on her face was probably the. I wish I took a picture of it. I wish I did. I would have freeze framed down. I would have just stuck it down there below with her right now because it was one in a million, that face.
See, in most cases, I can handle CGI spiders because I know they're not real. And, it's oversized, it's whatever. It's like, I've seen that in The Lord of the Rings, I've seen that in a bunch of other shows. But the animation of the mouth creeped me the hell out.
That was
And
cool.
it was screaming.
Animation-wise, that was cool.
I mean, yeah, well done, but it's well done because it's creeped me out and it was squealing and it was just like it was gross and I was done after that. I didn't want to see
Giant
anymore.
spider, you saw like all the hair, it's a nice big furry spider.
And I know,
shooting the webs.
I know everybody's like, oh, the Spider-Man reference, that was so funny. In this particular instance, I thought a Lord of the Rings reference would have fit better because of the size of the spider,
Or a Harry Potter reference.
or a Harry Potter reference. To bring like I guess it was shooting webs out like Spider-Man, but still I saw bigger connections elsewhere.
We could have made a literary reference.
Yeah.
Just with the literary references that this show was like based on. So
yeah, I mean, we even got a Charlotte's Web reference.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm just not. This sequence was cool, but like I'm just kind of disappointed because like I'm kind of tired of giant spiders and stories. Spiders, I'm not all that bothered about. They don't really scare me. They don't bother me. But like I would have liked to have seen something cooler, like a mythological creature or a creature from literature that we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can't personally think of anything. Like the spider with the web and being able to like wall off, literally wall off, web off areas. And it definitely made it feel more confined. I think it played into a lot of people's arachnophobia, which worked really well, I think, in terms of the show. But like, what else could you have come through? Like a minotaur, we've seen the minotaur.
Yeah.
Medusa, we've seen Medusa. I can't think of like any creature immediately that would pose as much of a threat that would keep them confined to the house. Any other creature?
I don't remember a minotaur. When was the minotaur?
The minotaur was in the underworld with Hook.
Oh yeah, it's Maze, yeah. 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 Okay.
I know that. Wait, wasn't it a minotaur?
Yeah, that was a minotaur.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
I am not remembering.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I remember Cerberus. I do not remember a minotaur.
I thought it was the minotaur. Am I like misremembering now? Chat can help us out here.
Because it was him and Meg in the dungeon, right? And like Cerberus was chasing them. Unless I'm thinking of
Danielle's saying basilisks.
Basilisks, I don't think. No. It's not that.
Something like the spider that could really like confine them. Is what I thought was because it webbed off the whole entrance. It was
okay. It was Cerberus. So
why am I thinking minotaur then?
Because it was like a minotaur's maze.
Well, yeah, like that in Greek mythology, that's usually what the minotaur is associated with is the maze.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really like a maze. It was more like a dungeon.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason,
Maybe,
I'm like remembering a minotaur.
Well, you could have then, brought in a minotaur for this episode or something.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagined the Black Fairy to be a bit more creative, but I don't know. I guess she's a basic bitch.
It sounds like, those spiders kind of frequent her dimension and she just happened to, tame that one in some sort, So why not send your pet that you kind of have control over?
Yeah.
So.
Zoroark is saying, why couldn't Emma or Gideon use their magic and poof them out of the house?
They did try.
Emma did, but Gideon was the one that actually brought the beast there through the Black Fairy's, control. But Gideon was the one that did it. So Gideon's really, as much as he's pretending to want to get rid of it, he wasn't. Like he summoned it there specifically to capture Emma. And we saw with that, like Gideon left Emma to die. Goes to open a portal briefly with the sword, as the sword is empowering because Emma's like getting wrapped, suffocated,
yeah,
whatever.
she's dying.
and it was just long enough for the Black Fairy to get through. But in the meantime, Rumpel actually played hero here and saved Emma.
That was funny because soon as Gideon got the hell out, I was like, Rumple to the rescue, and I was just joking.
Yeah, she's sitting there like as Emma's dying, goes Rumpel to the rescue, and then like I think like a minute later, Rumpel came, and I was just like,
Oh,
I
there you
look
go.
at her and I just went,
But I think there was a missed opportunity. I do like this that Rumpel actually did save Emma, but I think there was a missed opportunity to have Regina do it because, like, I feel like Regina would do that more before Rumpel would do that. But good on you, Rumpel.
well, Regina was very distracted with Henry and the author stuff, so I don't blame Regina for not showing up for that. I don't think she was even aware any of this was going on, to
No,
be
she
honest.
was busy with Henry. And
Hey, Regina. There was like this giant spider the other day, and it was in the house that like we all forgot about. Do you remember that?
to be honest, I
Yeah.
think the
And
time
then she'd be
frame.
like, "Where the fuck was I?"
I think the time frame was she was actually with Henry and Isaac at that time in Isaac's little cubbyhole while that was all going down. So she was really preoccupied.
Hmm.
I think that's how it worked out. I mean, it's not like it was playing parallel to each other, so you can't really know for exactly, but that's what I assume.
She was doing other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Um, and then, Gold and Emma are kind of having this conversation, afterwards, and Emma's like getting really angry. And at this point, she has every right to. Gideon tried to kill her.
Twice.
Yeah, and she goes, "Look, I'm done. I'm going after him. I'm putting a stop to this." Gold pretty much said, I'm gonna protect my son at any cost. Even if that means standing between you, Gideon and the Savior. And you just have Belle over here, and Belle's just kind of caught in the middle because she's like, "It's my son, and I want to protect him." But I understand what Emma's doing, and she's like, Gideon is literally tearing us apart, so it's just like Belle's seeing it, it's just she doesn't have an answer, so it's hard for her, Rumpel's the one that's willing to get his hands dirty.
Well,
Belle's not that person,
that's because he has the
Yeah.
power to. Belle
Well, Belle.
is normal. She does have some heroic blood in her, but it doesn't mean she has the strength to pull through, especially when you're
Belle.
going to get up against all magical beings that could just poof you out of
Belle usually
existence.
talks. She talks herself out of situations. She can't really do anything else. Like Belle, if you think about it, Belle's never handled a weapon. She's never
No,
like fought anybody.
no.
So yeah.
Nope.
And I want to address something in the chat. Carlos says, "Has anybody here played the Kingdom Hearts games?" They don't.
Yep.
I think
Riku
we've
all the
all.
way.
I've definitely tried to play, but I mean,
I'm trying to see that. I don't know if you can see that.
I played 1 and 2. I haven't played the others. I own, what is it, 1.7, 1.9 final chapter prologue remix, whatever it's called. I don't know. I own it. Have not played
One
it
of the
yet.
many titles that they give their games.
Yeah. So,
I see lots of people being like, poor Belle, and she split from Rumpel. She decided that she's gonna, keep Gideon for herself. She wasn't gonna let him have any, like, okay, I understand all of that. And, she was keeping her distance from him and being like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you. You ruined my life. And now, for some reason, she's being very civil out of nowhere. And I understand it's for Gideon, but Gideon's also a grown man. And he's making grown man decisions,
Kind of.
not on his own accord, but I mean, he can be treated as an adult, and she's not really doing that. It's
Well, she never had. Well, we need to keep in mind that Belle never had a child before,
yeah,
and for like the 2 seconds that she had him, she couldn't really do much. She was sending him away.
yeah.
So I think she hasn't really processed yet that he is a grown man. I think her main thought process is, "This is my son."
This is true. I just feel like I know she's treating him like he's a young like a young kid, and I know that like that's the protection element of a mother coming through, but I don't know. I see his actions and I try to put myself in Belle's shoes and I just can't because of just how she's been written all of these seasons. I just don't. Some of her choices don't make sense to me at all.
Oh yeah, the interns were writing her this episode. You know what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this episode, I think she was written fine.
She wasn't written like Belle.
No, that's what
Right.
I'm trying to
She
get.
didn't
I
have a
just
lot of
didn't.
time, but it was just like she's caught between a rock and a hard place, and no amount of writing, I think, could change the situation she's in right now.
I want Hook to come back quickly so we can focus more on Belle because this is her son. So you think they would focus on Belle like a little bit more and like kind of what she's going through and like her thought process. But I mean, I like that we have focus on Hook and like Neverland and all this stuff. But you know, just with a huge cast like this, there are times where I wish they would put focus on other certain characters. So I just hope that in a later episode we can like follow her for an episode for once.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just to have the cast so spread out is it's really hard sometimes to keep track of what's happening. And so we know that we're going to see Tiger Lily, and we're assuming that means more Neverland, right?
Well,
So
yeah, we're definitely getting Neverland
yeah,
next episode, and surprisingly, we also have an episode after. Its next episode is called Awake, and the episode after that is called
Root.
Where Bluebirds Fly.
Yeah, obviously.
So definitely seems like a Wizard of Oz
Yep.
reference. So I'm hoping that we get some more Dorothy and
Well,
Ruby.
I hope we get more of that because we do know that Mulan and Ruby just decided to stay in Oz for some reason. I mean, I know because Dorothy is there, but like, what is Oz going to do now that they don't have the wizard and they don't have Zelina? Who is running that place and how is it functioning? We don't know how Oz is doing, but I'm hoping we get to explore that. If that's not the route they're going, then it sounds like it could be a Zelina episode.
yeah.
And we might get a backstory on Zelina, which I don't know how much more backstory we can get on Zelina.
Maybe we'll get
But, like,
some more mother-daughter with Zelina. I mean, we don't get enough of the actual parent interaction when it comes to the children that have been brought into the series in the last couple years, like Baby Neil.
Right.
Yeah, where is he?
Yeah, where's
Baby Neil, where are you? Did we leave you at the park again?
well,
Black Fairy took them when they weren't looking.
yeah. Oh my God, that'd be awesome, actually. Because then we would probably end up going to the Black Fairy's realm instead of her coming to ours or ours, ours, whatever.
She's already here though.
Yep.
Anyway, next episode is called Awake. Still trapped in Neverland, Hook aligns himself with Tiger Lily, hoping to find a way back to Emma. Back in Storybrooke, Regina works to break the sleeping curse that David and Snow are under, and Gold denies the Black Fairy, which brings the two of them to a fearsome impasse. In flashbacks, we learn what Snow and Charming sacrificed in order for Emma to fulfill her destiny as the savior.
Okay. More Snow and David backstory that they are spreading so thin that I honestly do not care.
I mean, hopefully it has something to do with that that egg, the dragon egg that they dropped, and we find out a little more about that because we still don't know what's going on with Maleficent and her baby, Lily. Like
yeah,
they went to go have some bonding time, and we never heard from them again.
they said they'd be back soon too. It's been a while, guys. Just saying.
Been quite a while.
Just saying.
So. But that would be a great way to tie him in, and tying in Maleficent to the Black Fairy would be really good too, because they're technically the same character in terms of Sleeping Beauty, the story.
Yeah.
Right? Once upon a time, the characters were split, which I'm completely fine with, because they did the same thing with Elsa and the Hans Christian Andersen Snow Queen, who are technically the same character that they split for this show. So I like when they do that, because then we get double the characters. But in the same regard, I would rather have had Maleficent, them dealing with Maleficent instead of the Black Fairy here.
Why
They,
didn't
You
we do
know,
that? Because
yeah.
Maleficent never reached like main villain status.
yeah.
And you know, in like Disney canon, she's usually like, you know, the main evil. That I mean, you look at examples like Kingdom Hearts
I was just gonna say
and
Kingdom Hearts. We were just talking about that. She's the big
Kingdom
bad in
Hearts,
Kingdom Hearts.
or like if anybody has ever read that book series, Kingdom Keepers, which is about Walt Disney World and like adventures
Mhm.
that go on in there. Maleficent's the main villain in that story. Like
You go
Maleficent,
see the shows in Disney World. You have like Phantasmic, you know, and stuff like that. She's the big villain in that, you know.
so like
I play a mobile game, Disney Magic Kingdoms. She's
yeah,
the main villain in that, you know. She's the big bad villain,
Of
but
Disney.
she's also the Black Fairy, you know. So
Yeah.
that's why I
in
feel
Disney canon.
slightly cheated with splitting the characters. I do like it. I do like it at the same time, but I just really want more Maleficent.
That's what we're trying to say, is we want more Maleficent.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope that if there ever does come a time where some main characters need to leave the show, that and that also includes villains, because there are a lot of villains in the show too, that Maleficent could come in. And well, you know, Maleficent, last time we saw her, she wasn't really, she was on the cusp of like evil and good. We don't really know where she lies right now. I would like to see her as a villain again.
Mhm.
And like, you know, make her the villain that she was supposed to be, which I think they tried to do in season 4, but like then, you know, they kind of shied away from that. The Black Fairy, I still haven't seen enough of her to like really be intimidated by her. She's kind of like, she's kind of bubbly and, you know, a
Yeah,
bit,
she has that laugh and it makes her not intimidating. And
yeah.
just it's like, should do I have to go around pinching cheeks now of babies? Because your laugh is just, it is really, it is a contagious, almost happy laugh, and you don't feel scared by that.
Well, now that she's in Storybrooke, like
Hmm.
maybe we might see more of her, maybe more of what she can do, because she hasn't really done anything. She hasn't really done any magic that seems intimidating, other than, you know, ripping out Gideon's heart. But that's really it. We've seen other people do that. I want to see what makes hers different from the rest. Um, and will she destroy the clock tower? Because, you know, God knows every single villain needs to destroy the fucking clock tower, and that thing has like some great insurance, because they rebuilt it this episode like a week after Gideon destroyed it last episode.
The reason why they're able to keep destroying it and putting it back together, because the clock tower is 100% CGI. If you actually go to the town in Canada where they actually film, there's no clock tower above that section of
Yeah.
the building. 100% CGI. And I
So
mentioned this in our rewind. I forget if it was
yeah,
episode 2 or 3. It was one of the early episodes. You could actually see in the reflection of the glass when Emma and Henry are talking about the Storybrooke walking down the street. There's a reflection of the library in there with no CGI clock tower above it, and it looks really weird.
yeah, that was an overlooked scene. But yeah,
Yeah.
all street view of the library, the clock tower, is CGI, and they have, I think they said in an interview, they have 12 separate sets that are just the clock tower.
Yeah.
Every time,
Inside,
the inside of it. So yeah,
Yep. That's something most people don't even realize.
no.
Haley and Chaz flipping out right now. There's no clock tower? No, there's really
No.
not. You go to the
there is
actual town that's
actually.
filmed,
No.
and there's no clock tower. The library exists.
Mhm.
Here's my
But-
headcanon.
Yeah.
My headcanon is there is a clock tower. It's just a vampire. That's why it doesn't show up. The clock tower is a vampire.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Before we wrap this up, Mayfer in chat says, "Who do you think from the characters that are gone should come back?" Personally, I would like Pan to come back because there's still room to grow in his backstory. And I have 3 words for you.
Pan
Mayfer.
never dies.
Pan never fails.
Yeah, that's right. But
So
my
this is
yeah, no.
this is so well we have the Black Fairy now. This is Pan's baby mama. We don't know how they met.
Yeah,
No,
this
we
is
are
Pan's-
definitely seeing it.
This is Pan's wife.
We're definitely
At
gonna
one
see it.
point.
They
I think they separated. But,
there have been leaked pictures of Black Fairy and Robbie K in the same frame together. So we are gonna see it in some way. It's probably going to be a flashback, but we're still gonna see
Yeah.
Robbie K. We're still gonna see Pan.
And if
Let's
it's
see
not a
how that
flashback,
works.
there was also rumors of going back to Underworld at some point and seeing what Arthur has done with his new kingdom,
Did you fix
of
it
the
up?
Underworld.
But didn't
And
I thought Pan got thrown into the river?
He did.
he did. Pan is in the River of Lost Souls, but as we've seen from the Hercules cartoon, you can go into the river and retrieve the souls.
In a
Hercules did it
very
himself.
very short time frame.
Right, but he did it. So this is once upon a time where we twist everything, and including the duration. If I actually forgot Gideon's name for a second there. All that could pop into my mind was Baby Mo. Thank you so much, Jake. When Gideon got stolen, he aged in a mere day and was 28 years old. So, if you could adjust time like that, you could adjust time and have people, at any point in this version of the River of Lost Souls, they can come out.
We need Pan back. We need Gaston back. We need
Gaston's
whoever
dead.
else is.
He got snipped in half.
We need James. We need I forget who else is in there.
The only living person that we know of that came victim to the River of Lost Souls is Auntie M. She got sprayed with the water in the middle of town while she was alive, right?
They weren't living.
Or no, was
She
that
wasn't
in the
living.
Underworld?
That
She
was
was
in the
in
Underworld.
Oh, that was in
That's
the
the
Underworld.
only-
Okay, so she
That's
was
the
dead.
only way you get to the river of Lost Souls.
Yeah, you have to touch the water in
I
some
thought
way.
I thought the water came back with them for some reason.
Mm-mm.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No, you're right. You're
She
right.
did. She did.
Yeah. Okay. So
but
yeah,
yeah,
everybody in there is technically dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. Even the dead children. So we don't know how the Underworld's doing. Did Cruella overthrow Arthur? Is Arthur actually doing a good job like he said he was going to do? We don't know
Carlos
what's going
said
on
there's
yet.
actually a deleted scene of what Arthur did to the Underworld. It's on YouTube, no joke. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go look at it right after this podcast is over. But if it was something that was aired at like a Comic-Con or something like that, it could be a joke. I haven't seen the clip, so I can't speak for sure.
Mhm.
All I know is that it was like a couple of years after Lost was over, they went back and they got a bunch of the actors. By a bunch of the actors, I mean actually just two. But I don't want to reveal the two. They went back and refilmed a scene now that the whole thing was over and made it seem like it was a deleted scene from season 1. And it was actually really, really funny because it answered a lot of like unanswered questions in like a joking fashion. So if it's in that regard, then I'm not sure, but that would be hysterical either way. So I'm gonna go check that out after this for sure. But yeah, you guys have anything else before we wrap this up?
Nothing really regarding this episode. Well, kind of. It's related to this episode, but just more questions of like things that weren't answered that might get answered from either this next coming episode or episodes after this one. Still waiting to learn about this musical episode that we're going to get, which I'm really excited about. It's almost here, you guys. It's almost here. And just waiting to see from there, where are these characters going, and exactly when this final battle is supposedly the final battle. And
and for all we know, the final
learned...
battle may be the vision that Emma had before, because we know that Emma was wearing different clothing in the battle that she originally just recently fought Gideon in with the sword and failed. So everybody's saying because she was wearing a tank top and as opposed to like short sleeves and whatever, that wasn't the actual scene. So I'm assuming that that's actually going to be part of the final battle. Is that full scene?
Maybe it might not even be. But now I'm starting to think, well, given what we saw this episode with the Black Fairy taking Gideon's heart, Gideon might not be the cloaked figure.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. That's very true. It might be Peter Pan.
Or Cruella.
Or Cruella. Before we wrap this up, last question.
It's Elsa,
Alex.
You guys.
Alex says in chat, did you guys see the license plate on Isaac's van?
Yes.
I did, and I didn't get anything out of that. So if you have any information on the plate, Alex, please enlighten us, because I did pause it. I did look at it. I did try to figure it out, but off the top of my head, I didn't get anything off of it. So
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I couldn't make anything out of it.
I mean, in I remember it ended in December. Like it expired in December. The number that was up in the corner was what, 14?
No, 15.
15. It was one of the lost numbers. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know what the actual license plate itself was in reference to. So, but I don't know. I don't know if Alex has the answer either.
I mean, I
Are
did
you
I
like
did
legit
question
asking us?
I did question it because usually things like that, when they focus in on it and, kind of watch it go away into the distance, it kind of has some sort of
You
reference
don't
or,
just do that.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
is
Seems significant for some reason. I couldn't. Oh, okay. Haley's saying it was Walt Disney's birthday.
okay.
So, gotcha.
All
There you
right.
go. I was too busy focusing on lost references.
Another
Mhm.
author.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I did not realize that. But yeah, I think.
So I'm guessing. Okay, so now that I know that this was Walt Disney's car. It totally was. That's totally a car that existed in the 60s.
Okay.
So I think that's it. We're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Jake, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube at Jacob Salazar, or you can find me on Twitter. Tweeting me throughout the life at Nowhereland. That is CONOWHERELAND. Join the Nowhereland Society.
Awesome. Vicky, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter also at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Awesome. You can find me down below at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM. You can find us all and more on Facebook, Gmail, G+, Twitter, MySpace, and right here on YouTube at /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows, games, and movies. Until next week. See you guys later.
Thank you to all the new people in chat. You guys are awesome for sticking it out. And of course, the regulars. You guys are just as awesome. Let's see.
You guys are the best.
Thank you so much.